You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
It's that time again. You know what time it is. It's time to engage and to engage with us, with John. Hello,
Oh,
John.
hey, wait. Yeah, I'm looking at the watch, and the big hand is on engage. So it's time to engage. I'm John Champion.
I'm Norman Lau, and we have a very interesting email for all of you. And not because it's just interesting, but because it's kind of an older email too, isn't it, John?
Well, okay, and that is the thing. Like I keep everything, and there's
Remember that, folks.
right. And I have certain folders of just like general feedback and favorites and show topics and all this stuff, and we can't get back to everything personally and in an email. Sometimes the extent that the original message deserves, and for that I apologize. But I'm so sincere when I say we get everything, we read everything. And now on Engage, you're going to see us going way, way back to grab some of those older emails. Now, Norman, I know you're going to read this one,
Mhm.
and I'm going to have things to say, and you're going to have things to say. But I want to make sure that I'm trying to be nice, we are reading this with the interest of being thoughtful and engaging, and hopefully a little bit educational. And we're going to do this in that spirit. All right. This is from 2016. This is when Star Trek Beyond came out. So, I tell you what, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll read this one.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. Okay, this is an email from George. And it is a comment on Sulu being gay, for those of you who have not seen Star Trek Beyond, but it is a few years old at this point. You say his sexuality has never been stated. Didn't he have a daughter, Demora Sulu, in Generations? I'm sure some people would disagree with me, but the way I see it, this makes him either straight or bi, definitely not gay. And I wonder if Sulu has been made gay purely because George Takei is gay. How about Chekhov's replacement? Hope they're not just going to change actors being gay. I've no problem with either a gay or bi character. I'd encourage both in Star Trek, but I do have a problem with Sulu being gay, basically because of his daughter, but then I have big problems with the JJ Star Trek. Anyway, this is the least wrong the JJ films. This is the least wrong in the JJ films. To be honest, I can't think of a main Star Trek TOS character that hasn't had a hetero relationship at some point, so I don't see how any of them can be gay. One last point. No one in the universe would be safe if Kirk became bi, which could be interesting or just scary. Either way, arguably fitting with the character. And that is edited for time. But I'm going to collect my thoughts here. Norman, take it away.
Well, first of all, I'd like to caveat any of my answers by saying that I am not the most universally educated in the terminology of the LGBTQ and trans community, but I will do my best to be as respectful as I can. From what I understand, George is saying that he has a difficult time connecting Sulu in TOS versus Sulu in Beyond because of Demora being his daughter, because he's gay. But biology doesn't necessarily dictate what children you have per se. Gay couples can adopt children. Demora Sulu could have been an adopted daughter for Sulu in Star Trek Beyond. And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that John Cho and George Takei had conversations about not having Sulu be gay, because I believe George Takei said at the time that he was filming the original series, he chose to remain closeted because of the standards and practices that he felt would bear down on him in Hollywood at that time. So he worked very hard not to expose his sexuality in his character, and he did not want John Cho and I guess by extension, Justin Lin to actually introduce that as part of Sulu's character in Beyond. That's what I remember of a discussion that I've read in certain articles and certain publications. But getting to the heart of this conversation, the heart of this email, Sulu does not necessarily have to be hetero to have a child in his life.
Yeah, that's yeah, someone's sexual preference has nothing to do with their ability to have a child. So let's just get that out of the way first and foremost. Yeah, like you said, you can have adoption, you have surrogacy, you can have all manner of ways that a not straight person can have a child. So let's just get that out of the way first of all. Now, when it comes to the decision to reveal this about Sulu in Star Trek Beyond, there was some controversy around it, and even George Takei had some misgivings about it at the beginning, but I feel like he walked some of those back as well. And I will just go back to what I said at the time. I thought it was a great idea, specifically because we did not know anything about Sulu's sexuality up until that point. Prime universe, non-prime timeline, wherever, however you want to slice it, does not matter. All we knew about Sulu is that he was really good with the sword, looked good with his shirt off, he could pilot a ship, and he has a daughter. Okay, that honestly tells you nothing about his sexuality. Whether he's gay or straight or bi or any combination thereof, doesn't tell you a thing. So what I liked about that is that all that does is give the audience one more piece of information about his family life.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I think that's the brilliance of doing a change like that, having a character like that, because we're not changing something that happened before. We're merely adding to it. So, George, I thank you for this email. I want to encourage you to have a bit more open mind about the nature of human sexuality to begin with, and second of all, the shape and color of what families can be, because I think that is very specifically what we're getting at here.
Right.
Yeah.
And John, I think the takeaway from that scene is not is whether or not Sulu being gay in a gay couple having a child is the focus point, the focal point. I think the takeaway from that scene is exactly what Kirk said and what McCoy responded to when Kirk said, "I didn't know he had a family.
Yeah.
What did he have time to have a family?" And then McCoy said he made time.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway, because we always struggle with whether or not our characters are fully rounded characters with fully rounded lives. In Beyond, Kirk was very linear. It was wake up, put on a uniform, duty, take off the uniform, go to sleep, wash, rinse, repeat. The fullness of Sulu having a family was shocking to him.
Yeah.
Because Sulu made time, made the importance of that part of his life happen.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one other little thing in here that I want to say, just to address a couple of specifics in this email. George is referring to this idea that there is nobody in Star Trek who hasn't had a hetero relationship. Well, first of all, I don't think that is entirely accurate. We actually don't know a lot about the sex lives of the characters in Star Trek. And second of all, again, if what you have seen is a hetero coupling at some point, that still doesn't tell you the whole picture about that character. So you're only inferring from little pieces of information until that character comes out and tells you what they are, who they are, what their preferences are. You can't really make assumptions about that. So let's keep that conversation going, okay? Folks, you can reach us on YouTube, Roddenberry Prod or Roddenberry Entertainment, under the playlist Mission Log Engage. Send us your comments, missionlog@roddenberry.com. Find us on Facebook and Twitter @MissionLogPod. And remember, we may engage with your comments on the air.